So I got your email and you said that you wanted to work on expanding algebraic expressions today, and also you have a critical reading response that you want to have some help thinking through. So you sent me of your textbook, and great job getting your notes. They're starting to look really, really clear. You said that you're having some trouble with the idea of expanding algebraic expressions. So where do you want to start? Do you think it would be more helpful for you to start with kind of the big picture and getting the lesson again, or do you want to try where sent? What do you want to work on first? How do you think it'll best help you? Okay, we can start with the lessons. So first off, what is expanding algebraic expressions? What does that mean? Okay, so one way to think about it is you're taking two things and trying to multiply them. So if they were just numbers, right? If they were like 8 times 10, we'd know how to do that. But these are algebraic. To apply the two parts together, we have to take them piece by piece and multiply each piece so that we know that we're taking into account every single term in the expression. So if you look at the example that I sent you, which is x plus 2 times x plus 3, you'll see the whole foiling steps laid out. So remember that FOIL means first, outer, inner, last. And what that's referring to are terms. You have the first term, which is the x, and then you have the second term, which is the unit. So when we're foiling, when we're expanding, we take the first terms first and we multiply them. So we have x plus 2 times x plus 3. So the first term in both of those expressions is x. So we're going to multiply x times x, and that's going to give us x squared. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do is the outer, because it's FOIL. First, inner, outer, last. So we have the outer expression. So you have x, and then you have 3 on the outsides. So that's x times 3, which is equal to 3x. So then we have the inner ones, which are the ones closest to the parentheses, and those are going to be 2 and x. So 2 times x is 2x. And then you have the last ones, the ones on the right-hand side of the expression. That's going to be 2 times 3, which is 6. So do you see how those colors help you visually see? So sometimes when you're doing this at home, you can use different colored pens so that you know which are the first, which are the outer, which are the inner, which are the last. That kind of helps you kind of see it more visually. So then when we write all our answers down at the bottom, remember that it's going to be an addition, because in the original expressions you're adding the terms together. So you have x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus x. But what do you notice? That's right, we have like terms. So we need to remember to take those like terms in and add them together, combine them. And that will give us the cleanest expression. And that's going to be x squared plus 5x plus 6. So is there any part of that you want to go over again? Okay, so now last time I remember that it was really helpful for you if we put these in the algebra tiles, because I remember that it was helpful for you to see like the visuals of what was actually happening when you were multiplying these things together. And sometimes thinking about things geometrically with area is easier than just abstractly just memorizing what's happening. So let's go into the algebra tiles. So remember, to start the algebra tiles, we make our grid, which is right over here, and then we add x plus 2 on the top part of the grid and x plus 3 on the left-hand side of the grid. So when you multiply x times x, remember that the formula for area is length times width. So we have x at the top and x at the bottom. That means we have a square, x squared. So that area is blue. And then we multiply this x by 2. So again, since the formula for area is length times width, the length of this bar is x, and the width is a single unit. And so you have 2 bars, so that's 2 x's, because x times 1 is x, which gave us x squared. So now let's multiply 3 times x, and we'll get 3 bars. And so now that we have the 3 bars, we're going to multiply the units together. So that's going to be 3 times 2, which is 6 units. And you can see here that that's all we have to do. We've completed this square, and that's x plus 2 times x plus 3, and that leaves you with an x squared square, 5x's, and 6 units, which looks like x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay, so let's try using one of your example sets, because that'll help this really bring it home to the kinds of problems that you're doing in class. Great. Okay, so did you want to take a quick break because we need like a mental moment to transition, or would you like to just dive right in? Okay, great. So this is the paragraph that your English teacher sent. And what exactly was the assignment? Okay, so it was to write it in your own words and write a response. Oh, that's super cool. This is a really, really interesting paragraph. So why don't you read it to me first? And remember as you're reading that we really need to understand every word in a passage, because if we don't understand the words, we can't understand what the sentence means, and if we don't understand what the sentence means, there's no way we can understand what the author's trying to tell us. So we have to be really critical about our understanding and have a really high standard of understanding, otherwise, you're not going to be able to really get to the meaty, cool part of any reading. So why don't you go ahead? Okay, so let's take a look at the very first sentence. Awesome. What does it mean that the mind is like wood and it requires kindling? Okay, well, I think you have it. That's awesome. And I know that you have a social studies test coming up. If you need any help, why don't you send me and have your mom send an email, and we'll have another session.